given us. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to the online church and welcome to our own congregation. God loves you and so do I. And tell your neighbors that you like to see them here at church on Sunday. Give them a hug and say, I love you Would you like to stay standing for the opening prayer? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this lovely day, this wonderful group that have come out to share in this musical service that we are going to have, as well as the worship to you and the praise to thy name. We ask that we take the joy that we feel here today in our hearts and carry it with us throughout the week to each person that we meet. Amen. Wow, we are so fortunate today. I am telling you. We have Reverend Cheryl Swain and her husband Kevin Swain, and they have professional names. Cheryl does Cheryl Catherine Smith. She records on solo albums. Her husband is her arranger, producer, and all-around great guy to back us up. And then together, they play at a lot of places around, and you'll see that it's called Off the Hook. And I'm telling you, when we see them play, we just dance. Also, anybody here that was at the dance, at the Harvest Dance, they know that it was great. We got up and we boogied, didn't we, Cheryl? And Kevin, I'm telling you, they just kept going all night. It was just an absolute wonderful time. So we're going to get a little sample of some of that today. So we'd like to welcome you guys. And Cheryl's also going to show us her reverence side because she's going to do the address today. So you're really going to be an all-around person today. I'd like to welcome Reverend Jeannie Martin and her husband, who are celebrating their first-year anniversary. Would you like to give us Jeannie's going to join us a little while later, doing some clairvoyance and, I believe, working up here on mediumship. I was going to surprise her and say I'm going to get her to chair today. When I found out, though, that it was her anniversary, I thought I might be splitting them up. They couldn't hold on. Especially when we sing the song, the anniversary come. So that's really wonderful. Welcome to them. Also to Reverend Joyce Slayman, who helps us many, many times in the kitchen and comes in and gives me a hand. And today she surprised all the coordinators, the volunteers, that it was all done by the time they got here. So we just kind of were moving and boogieing this morning. So it was a really great day. I think the sun does something to us. We also have our two ministers in training, or two of our ministers in training, plus our coordinator, who is the third minister in training. So Derrick Whiteskycloud, Lynn White, and Maureen Lum, who is our volunteer coordinator, are studying in ministry as well. As online, we have Dale Haggerty up around the Clearwater area, up in Ravenby, that are studying to take over when this old lady can no longer get up here, maybe even before that, and just help out here so we can take a holiday now and again, Amos? That would be good. Okay, so now we're going to just ask you if you want to join in a medley of music with our entertainers that are here today. And are we going to do God Has a Dream for Me on the last?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so if you want to turn to God Has a Dream for Me, number 49, and you can join in with Cheryl on that one. We're going to learn that song yet.
You're still learning it?
Yeah, we're still learning it. Every time we're going to sing it, somebody can't play it, or we forget to bring the CD, yeah, or something goes awry. So they don't practice it as much. So on the third song, Cheryl will ask you to join in on that with her. Okay, Cheryl, it's all yours.
Thank you, Barb.
Hi. Thank you very much. Thank you for a great introduction, and for those of you who were here for the dance, we did have a great time. We really enjoyed being here, and it was all around fun. We look forward to the next one. We hear you're going to have an annual dance, so looking forward to that one. When I originally talked to Barb about this medley of music, what came to me is I'd like to share with you songs that are important to me. Songs that I think are spiritual songs, and songs that I'd like you to share with me just in listening to them. So I'm going to start with a song called Calling All Angels. And this is a song that Train did. This is a band, are they Canadian, Kevin? I thought they were American band, I guess. And this is what I like to start with because I like to bring and invite the angels, because I really believe in them. And I'm just going to sing this, and if you know the song, you feel free to join me. But it's not in the book.
I'll need a sign to let me know you're here. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. I need to know that things are gonna look up. 'Cause I feel us drowning in the seas built from a cup. When there is no safe place and no safe place to put my head. When you can feel the world shake from the words that are said. And I'm calling all angels. And I'm calling all you angels. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I need a sign. all from being clear. I need to know that things are gonna look up, 'cause I feel us drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. The children have to play inside so they don't disappear, and private eyes solve marriage lies 'cause we don't talk for years. And football teams are kissing queens and losing sight of having dreams, in a world that what we want is only what we want until it's ours. And I'm calling all angels, and I'm calling all you angels, calling all you angels, calling all you angels.
Thank you very much. The next song is written by Eric Bazillion of Hooters. I don't know if any of you know who the Hooters are. And also Joan, she just slipped my mind. Osborne, just like the Osborne. I had a chance to meet Eric Bazillion in Los Angeles, and I told him how much this song meant to me, because I literally was hiding under a desk listening to this song on repeat when I was at one of my lowest points of my life. And this is called One of Us. This is, what if God was one of us, just a slug like one of us?
If God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to her face? If you were faced with her in all her glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a smile like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. If God had a face, what would it look like, and would you want to see? If seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets, and yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slow like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, try to make his way home. Just try to make his way home. Back up to heaven all alone. Nobody calling on the phone, except for the folk maybe in Rome.
Now get ready. We're going to do God Has a Dream for Me, number 49. All right, so here's how it goes. Hopefully. God has a dream for me if I will let it be. God has a dream for me if I only listen. When God has a dream for me, it lets me be all I can be. God has a dream for me if I open my heart. When all dreams fade and die, and my heart cries, why, oh why? God finds a new dream for me if I open my heart, my mind, my hand. When life is dark and gray, and off the pathway I stray, God stays beside me each day as I go my own way. God has a plan for me, a special design for me. God has a plan for me if I only listen. God shows His plan to me, asks me if I'll agree, make His dream reality, being all I can be. When all dreams fade and die, and my heart cries, why, oh why? God finds a new dream for me if I open my heart, my mind, my hand. When life is dark and gray, and off the pathway I stray, God stays beside me each day as I go my own way. God stays beside me each day as I go my own way. Thank you. You did a great job. Thank you.
Wow. That is something else, you guys. I should tell you a little bit. When I wrote that song, and I decided that I would submit it to Kevin when they were doing a songbook for First United Spiritualist Church, and he hadn't heard the music, but he liked the words, so he said, try and get me the music. So I kind of one finger point on the piano. And they said, yeah, it sounds pretty good. And that was fine. And then Celia did a little bit better idea of it. And then one day I came over to their house and they told me, come see our studio. I went down to the studio and they put this record on, or the disc on. And it blew me away. Because I'll tell you, when I sing, it doesn't sound anything like when Cheryl sings it. But it's wonderful. Thank you, you guys. That was quite a gift. And I must tell you, too, before we go any further, that Cheryl and Kevin have just recently toured Europe, and they tour all over and do sing professionally. So we are so blessed that they come out and give their time, energy, and to our church, and they don't ask for any money. So that's really good. Thank you so much, guys. And now, Cheryl, if you would like to give us your address, give her a warm welcome here.
Now Kevin's going to join you. He doesn't want to be up here with me. He hangs up with me enough already, right, Kevin? Not only are we married, live together in relative harmony, but because we have our dream together, which is our music, we write together, we tour together, we play together. So we spend a lot of time together. And actually, it works out considerably, amazingly well, doesn't it? For the most part. For the most part.
Say yes, Kevin.
Say yes, Kevin. Oh man, we were talking congratulations again on your first anniversary. We had the privilege of being at your wedding and singing with you, and we have a history. There's some people in this room that I have a history with because I've known them for a while, and some of you I've never met. But I welcome all of you, and as I was singing, and when I'm up here, I like to look each of you in the eye because I like to connect with everybody. I truly believe that we are in this moment together, and we need to make the most of it. I also will tell you, take what I say, what you want, take it, what you don't, leave it. Because whatever resonates with you, and whatever doesn't, just don't worry about it, right? I like that. Take what you want and leave the rest. And that's what I say in terms of when I'm speaking. The reason why I decided to do this is because I've thought about this too. I thought, why am I inspired to speak or to share my story or to talk about my own spiritual path? And it's really, and why do I even do music? What inspires me to be a musician? What inspires me to be an artist in general? And it really is just for connection. Is to have a connection with what I believe is the whole, which is us. To connect with you, and if anybody's in despair, if I can share my story and it can help you and give you some kind of hope and inspiration, that is the motivation that I am here for. When I was here last time, I spoke on the 4 agreements. For those of you who haven't read this book yet, I would highly suggest that you take the time to. Oprah actually introduced this gentleman as Don Miguel Ruiz to the world because she is an adamant believer in the 4 agreements. And after I shared a bit of my own, I guess you would call it testimony, a little bit of my own story, a little bit of my own history, and I had a gentleman from the congregation approach me after I had spoken, and he said to me, "You must have been very wicked in your other lives." And I thought, what an interesting assessment that I was wicked because I suffered, or I have suffered. But I am not alone. We have all suffered. And you know what my answer to him was? I said, yes, but I've also been very holy. And I believe that. I believe that I've been wicked, and I believe that I've been holy, and I believe even in this life I have been wicked and I have been holy. And it's all good. It's all good. Without judgment. What was, last time, I don't know if any of you were here, I was supposed to be here a few weeks ago, but I got snowed in. We were stuck on a hill. We live in the Heights area of New Westminster, so we were stuck on our hill. We didn't want to, risk coming out here and being in an accident or anything. I was all prepared. I was all dressed. I had my makeup on. I had all my books with me, and I was all ready to come. And we weren't meant to be here. And I heard you had a lovely service, and that's just the way it is. God takes care of everything in the end. And I brought the same things that I was going to speak about on that day. And basically what my theme is for today is surrender. Or you can also call letting go. Surrender and letting go. Now that was one of the biggest challenges I had in my life so far, was the ability to know, first of all, what I needed to surrender. And secondly, how do I do that? How do I surrender things? And I love the prayer, the serenity prayer, because it sort of encompasses a lot in one prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And there's times in my life that I've been so caught up in what is my path? What is it that I'm supposed to choose in this moment? How do I surrender it? How do I let it go? How do I let go of my attachment to an outcome? I'm sure all of you have had situations in your lives when you've had to make decisions. And sometimes making a decision is a scary thing. And sometimes not making a decision, I would say, is more scary. It's better to make a decision than to let something sort of just transpire. That's sort of how I lived my life for a while. I was busy not making decisions, so life basically just made decisions for me. And I ended up not feeling too satisfied about it. I was going, well, life isn't so great. It actually got pretty dark. When I was hiding under that desk, it was because I was completely loaded on drugs. I chose drugs, and this is maybe why that gentleman was telling me I was wicked. I chose drugs for a while because it was a coping mechanism. I mean, people choose different things. Some people choose sex, some people choose shopping. Some people work too much, they're workaholics. Some people watch television all the time or escapism. I mean, we all have different things that we do when we just don't want to deal with the world. So I chose drugs. Now, it wasn't a healthy choice, but it was a choice. It was it was a way of coping. But what I had to do when I realized that wasn't serving me, because it became very, very dysfunctional and unmanageable, to say the least, and I can tell you my story another time, but I needed something to replace it. Because, the fact is I still need to have a coping mechanism, and if drugs weren't serving me and they were making my life unmanageable and it was getting a bit much, and it was defining my life because everything revolved around how I felt, self-medicating. So what I had to do was step outside of that awareness and step into a new reality, step into something else that could become my coping mechanism. And I have always had a connection with God, always. I cannot remember any part of my life, any time when I did not believe or have a connection to something greater than myself. That was always a given. But what I had done is I consciously chose to do it myself. I said, you know what, God? I got it from here, because I don't really have much faith anymore, and I'm a little bit, it was based in fear. I was afraid. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm afraid of the unknown, so I'm just going to decide I'm going to make up my own mind, and I'm going to make up my own life. So thank you very much. I'll take it from here. And I proceeded to do that for many, many years. I mean, God was always there, because when you're in a crisis moment, what happens? God help me! Crisis moment, right? So then you're out of the crisis moment, you're going, oh, hey, okay, I got it from here again. Thank you very much. Thanks for saving me there. And there's a lot of different situations where I actually was literally saved. And you look back in your own lives and you think about the miracles that have, different miracles that have got you to this place. When you're in that place of crisis and you're in that place of trauma, tragedy, or whatever situation you've been in, and you go, God help me, and what happens right away? There's always something that's there. So I wanted to bring to you different versions of surrender, just this idea of surrender and letting go, and what does it mean to surrender and let go of those things that do not serve us anymore, whether it's a habit or a belief system or a thought or a way of life, a lifestyle. Perhaps you're living a lifestyle that doesn't serve you anymore and you recognize it. So what is it that we need to do to step out of it, to surrender, to actually let it go to Spirit, and to have that faith and that understanding that it really is being taken care of, and that we can do that in faith? First of all, I'm going to read from Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. And she speaks about surrender. She has a whole chapter on surrender here. And one of the excerpts goes like this. When we surrender to God, we surrender to something bigger than ourselves, to a universe that knows what it's doing. When we stop trying to control events, they fall into a natural order, an order that works, where it rests while a power much greater than our own takes over, and it does a much better job than we could have done. We learn to trust that the power that holds galaxies together can handle the circumstances of our relatively little lives. Surrender means, by definition, giving up attachment to results. When we surrender to God, we let go of our attachment to how things happen on the outside, and we become more concerned with what happens on the inside. Eckhart Tolle, for those of you who are familiar with his work, also he did an article on surrender in the Common Ground, his regular article, Common Ground magazine. And he basically said that surrender is basically surrendering to being in your moment, in essence, right? So if we stay out of our past and we stay out of the future, which is fear-based, and we stay in our moment, that in and of itself is surrender. And he also says that saying yes as opposed to no is a form of surrender. That means saying yes to where you are in your life and the circumstances. Instead of judging it or placing a judgment on whether it is good or bad, just say, yes, it is, and then let it go, not fight it. And I believe that very much. Tolle speaks a lot about the ego mind, for those of you who have read his books, and he believes that saying no is egocentric. And to say yes is actually to surrender to spirit, to surrender to that power that is greater than you. What I explained last time when I brought the 4 agreements is I spoke a little bit about what I've developed as my spiritual suit. And I used to be very much involved in the Christian church when I was younger and involved in ministry with the Christian church. And I have made a conscious decision to let go of the Christian church. And the reason being, not that it's bad, again, no judgment, but that it doesn't serve me, because I have made a conscious decision to step outside so that I can accept all religions, because I believe that there are many paths to the same God. So I have broadened my horizons, I've become more open-minded, but at the same point, there is no judgment. I'm not judging that the Christian church is incorrect. I'm not judging that any religion is incorrect. I'm just accepting. I'm stepping out into surrender and accepting and saying yes to. The fact is that we all have a desire when we are going to, for example, even being here. What brings us here? There's a desire to connect, not only to each other, but to that highest part of ourselves, which is, in essence, our God self, which is connected to Creator, right? So here we are, we come together, we want to honor it. We want to say, hey, there is something greater than me, and I don't have to wallow in my self-pity. I don't have to wallow in my life sucks. I don't have to wallow in why am I here? It doesn't make sense. I don't have to wallow in my depression. I could choose to. I don't have to. Right? Again, getting back your power of choice, which is taking you back to surrender to. That's a conscious choice. Sometimes we're so caught up in the stress of our lives that we don't even recognize that we're hanging on to so much and that we're allowing the stress to take over and make our decisions for us and basically kind of push God out of it. You know, when we're stressed, we're not really in our moment, because stress essentially is worry, is it not? And if we're worrying, we're not in faith because we're concerned. We're trying to take care of it. So pay attention again to your body, pay attention to your thoughts, and ask yourself, have I surrendered this? I was with my family last night. I had an opportunity to go hang out with my mom and my brother and his 2 children and my son. And we had dinner together, and I come from a very traditionally Christian-based background. And my mother is very, very religious. And so she's not really, she hasn't acclimated to where I'm at. And my family, I don't really talk too much about God. I kind of throw it out there, you know, spirit or connection or you know, I throw it out there. So last night I said, I prefaced something because it became a part of the conversation. We're talking about how do we get help or how do we ask for help. And I said, you know what, I may sound a little bit different, but you know what I actually do? I ask angels. Even for keys. I lose my keys, I say, angels, can you help me? I want a parking spot, I say, angels, can you help me? And when it comes out of my mouth, there's a part of me that goes, that sounds really crazy. And that's the truth. That sounds really crazy, but you know what the truth is also? I do ask for angels, and I ask for help, and I get it. And this is what I was saying to them. I was saying, you know, when you're stuck, why don't you just ask the angels to help you? And they kind of look at me like, okay, Cheryl, what kind of cult are you with now? Right? You know, I'm a little bit the artistic kind of different, you know, sister. And so, you know, some of you can relate too. There's a reason why we're all here, because maybe some of us consider us quite different from the rest of the world. I also want to read from Deepak Chopra's Book of Secrets. And I want to read what he says that surrender is. Surrender is full attention, appreciation of life's richness, opening yourself to what is in front of you, non-judgment, absence of ego, humility, being receptive to all possibilities, and allowing love. Most people think of surrender as a difficult, if not impossible, act. It connotes surrender to God, which few except the most saintly seem to manage. How can one tell that the act of surrender has happened? I am doing this for God sounds inspiring, but a video camera in the corner of the room couldn't tell the difference between an act performed for God and the same act performed without God in mind. It's much easier to do the surrendering on your own and let God show up if He wants to. Open yourself up to a Rembrandt or Monet painting, which is, after all, a glorious piece of creation. Pay full attention to it. Appreciate the depth of the image and the care in its execution. Open yourself up to what is in front of you rather than allowing yourself to be distracted. Don't judge in advance that you have to like the painting because you've been told it's great. Don't force yourself to respond because it makes you look smart or sensitive. Let the painting be the center of your focus, which is the essence of humility. Be receptive to any reaction you may have. If all of these steps of surrender are present, then a great Rembrandt or Monet will evoke love, because the artist is simply there in all his naked humility. And I love that too, because it reminds us that we are the true artists of our own life, that we do in fact have the power to create the lives that we are living. And when you take that power, you become empowered when you recognize that you yourself are in charge. That's it. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're not a victim of another person's saying yes or no to your request. You're not a victim ever unless you decide to be a victim. I was a victim. I lived in blame. I just blamed everything. It's your fault that my life isn't good. It's your fault. I blame my father. He committed suicide when I was 8 years old. For years, I hung on to that. It was my father's fault that my life was messed up and I couldn't relate to man. I mean, I had all these reasons for my behavior and for all these excuses. And finally, when I decided to take care of myself and to pull up my bootstraps and take care of my own life and recognize the power that I have, my power, your power, to change your circumstances, our circumstances. A lot of it is attitude. I love that one. Gratitude is an attitude. That's a huge one for me. If I stay in gratitude, then it helps me to surrender, because then I realize I have so much. And I don't focus on what I don't have. So you are the artist of your own life, and surrendering and letting go will actually serve you, because the only reason why we don't surrender, even when, and I worked with women too who've been in abusive relationships, and they don't want to let go, and you see how the havoc it is rendered. It's just, they're going through complete turmoil. Their lives are a mess. But you know what keeps them from leaving? Fear of the unknown. Fear of change. So sometimes we stay in these really unhealthy situations because we're afraid of who we'll be when we step out of them. But we need to understand that the best thing we can do for ourselves is have faith, number one. Even I like the Bible where it says, even if you have faith of the grain of a mustard seed, that's all it takes. Act as if. Sometimes that's what I do. I act as if. I say things, they don't resonate with me, and my heart goes, hey, you're lying. I used to write in my journal when I first started my journey of getting to be more whole. I used to write at the end, I used to say, I love Cheryl. And everything in me just would cringe. I could literally feel myself cringe because I didn't believe it. I didn't love myself. I really didn't love myself. And now I write it and it just feels so right. I had to act as if to get to the place of actually coming to a place of self-love. And that's another important thing, is that we all need to get to that place of self-love before we can actually share that love with others. So if there's anything in your life that you need to surrender, anything that Spirit is prompting you to let go, and if fear is holding you back, I would suggest another thing that has made sense to me. If it helps me, I don't know if it's going to help you, but it's the first 3 steps of the 12-step program. Now, the 12-step program is in all sorts of different genres in terms of addictions. There's 12 steps of codependence, there's 12 steps of alcoholism, drug addiction, sex addiction. But I find that they're very helpful because there's sometimes when I just find myself going back to steps 1, 2, and 3 to help me surrender. And so step 1 for me is we admit we are powerless over blank, whatever that might be. It could be a person, the way a person's acting. It could be a job, an employer. It could be an addiction. It could be something that's causing you some harm in your life. And that our lives are unmanageable as a result of it. So what's not resonating for you? Step 2, come to believe that a power greater than us can restore us to sanity. So that basically is a dialogue. It's reaching out, prayer. God help me. Something help me. And number 3, we make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him or her. And I took the liberty of changing the lyric to one of us to her. And I do actually, when we perform that song, I change it. I go back and forth. What if God was one of us, just a slob like one of us? Just a stranger on a bus, trying to make her way home, his way home. I go back and forth because I don't think of God as one or the other. I think of them as both. That's another very different way of thinking from my Christian background, is that acceptance of this balanced God. So, that being said, I think I'm done. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, that was really wonderful. I think all of us can resonate with that. Yeah, it's really great. Of course, we are so fortunate to have great speakers come here, and I'm glad that each week people come and enjoy that. I get a lot of feedback, and of course the people that I get really good feedback on return. And of course Reverend Cheryl and Reverend Jeannie have been on before, and they will be on again. So thank you so much. You know that we are a healing ministry, and that we do have an area at the back that if you choose to have hands-on healing, the healing facilitators will work with you back there. We also have a bowl back there, and you can put the first name of anybody that you desire to have healing for. God knows who the wish is for, who the desire is for, and who the prayer is for. So just the first name is sufficient. And the minute you start thinking about that person, the healing already starts. So we know that as we do pray and we add each other's prayer to that, it multiplies 10 times 10 times 10. So we know that the chain of prayer does work. So anybody that would like to go back there, we'd ask the rest of us to just sit quietly and relax and join into the meditation and allow yourself to heal through that power of God.
Position and take your thoughts inward and upward to a little spot in the universe where God resides and healing begins. Allow the energy to move through the tips of your toes, moving upwards or around and round the body, and allow it to come up through the top of the head and flow over the body like a gentle summer rain. As you breathe in again, feel the energy bringing alive all the cells in the body that work together with all of the organs. And allow those organs to be like a wonderful symphony concert orchestra that play their instruments independently, but they play with such harmony and such rhythm that they are working for the whole beauty of the piece they are playing. And as you breathe the energy in and revitalize all of the energies in the body, in the cells, in the organs, know that you are doing that to bring healing to the whole. And as the energy comes in again through the tips of the toes, allow it to expand into the mind. Let the mind open and be receptive. Let the mind be positive and be healthy, so that it may touch the dreams, the ideas that God has to make you all that you can be. Allow those dreams, those thoughts, those energies to come through the mind to healthy growth, so that they will grow and produce the dream that God has for you. Breathing in again, allow yourself to come in touch with the Spirit, that part of yourself that is always perfect. And allow the Spirit to communicate to the mind and the body what it needs for this journey that it is having in this physical existence. And as you have healed your own self, body, mind, and spirit, be like a pebble in a great pond of energy, and allow your energy to move forward and ripple outward, and let it touch each member in the room. And joining together, allowing the energy to draw through everyone to facilitate the healing. Taking a deep breath now, think about outside of this room into the community of your family, the community around you, of your teachers and your leaders, and allow that energy to ripple out and touch all of them, so that they too may experience the wonderful healing, the wonderful peace. Allow that energy now to go forward into the world, and not only touch the world's leaders, but to touch the animals, the vegetation, the waters, the atmosphere, so that they may be healed. And let us be thankful to the animals and the vegetation and the minerals that give of themselves and serve us so greatly and feed us so well. Allow us now to reach out into the universe, into other parts of the universe that we are not familiar with, for many mansions in God's world that we are not aware of every room and every mansion. But we send love and we send caring, for God promises us that love and healing is never ending. And all we need to do is ask, and the energy will follow the intention of the thought, and the healing will begin. Now, as we circle back to the seat of the soul, take a few moments just to sit quietly before you come back to your everyday workaday world, to enjoy the tranquility and the peace of the healing area of your garden, the inner garden of healing. And know that you may visit here any time. And God has promised the love and the healing is never ending. So open your hearts, your mind, and your hand. God bless you, and He sends His angels to keep after you.
And to the angels and the energies that are brought from God to help us heal our bodies and those that we love. Okay, interesting part of the service now, the announcements. And first of all, I'd like to tell you some of the great things that are going to be happening at the church. Here we have Spring Bazaar coming up on May the 17th. Anybody who is crafty would like to rent a table and bring their crafts or something to the sale, that would be great. We're going to have a jumbo table where people can bring in some of the things they no longer need. It may be some jewel for somebody else that they would like to buy, and we'll have that as a benefit for the church, as well as a bake table. So all our wonderful bakers that would like to contribute to the bake table, all of that will go benefit for the chapel. Also, we would like to announce that we are going to have something free for your children and grandchildren or whatever. We're having George Cook, magician that is with Magic for Children, is going to come and do 2 performances and work with the children that come in, and it won't cost anything other than they'll probably ask you to buy them a hot dog or maybe popcorn or something. But as far as he's going to volunteer his time to come. We're also going to have Rosemary Phillips, and for those that remember Rosemary coming and doing the music and then doing the clairvoyance into the audience, she's going to come, and she has a program that she does with children, and she's going to bring her CD called One Seed and her book that goes along with it, and she's going to do some music with the children that they can sing along with Rosemary. So that will also be another thing that the children can come to, and it will be an exciting day for every age from 1 to 101. So bring everybody and try to get as many people out to that as you can. The flyers will be going on the table shortly, and we will get some posters up and get some advertising on it, but we want everybody in the church to get a little lead time on that. Next week, of course, we have Reverend Leslie Prentice. She has been here before. People really loved her. She was for many, many years the co-pastor with her mother of Community Spiritualist Church in Vancouver. And her mother got ill. They closed the church. And she now works out of ISA and then comes from time to time and helps with people that would like to invite her. She also still has a very ill father. Her mother did pass. And so she will be here, and she's going to give her time to us next week. The following week, however, mark this one on your calendar. Paul Elder, who has written the book called Eyes of an Angel. He will be bringing his book over with him, but it is absolutely fantastic. I read the book. I've asked my minister in training that they would read the book as well. I think it is an extremely good book to be able to get a lot of information about his journey and how Spirit worked with him. You will find that you resonate with some of it you may not, but like Cheryl said, if it resonates with you, it's good. It reinforces some of your own belief system, and it also gives you a chance to discern, which Cheryl says the same thing as I do. Discern, don't we? Everything, whether it's from me or from Cheryl or whoever it's from. So it's a good book to be able to read, to be able to hear about Spirit and how Spirit works. So please remember to come and see Paul Elder on the 24th. And now we want to know, do we have any birthdays out there? But we do have an anniversary out there. So we're going to sing happy anniversary instead of happy birthday, I guess. Okay. Like the love light in people's eyes when they're still in love. Isn't that wonderful? Ozzy and I have 54 coming up, so I told her she's only got 53 more years to go to catch up. And we still look at each other with loving eyes, too. He says he's had 3 happy years of marriage, so he's not telling me which 3 years that was. Oh, okay. So now it's time for everybody to help us with the chapel by their free will offerings. And if you'll turn to page 21, and this is a song Celia and I put together. And I'm going to see if I can get Cheryl one of these times to get the song so that she can lead us in it, or maybe even Amber back there's got a really good voice for you to get that thing. Here we go again. Okay, number 21. We're going to get this one down here. We get past the first part, we're fine. Take turns here. Hey, Jeannie.
Good morning, everyone. As I was sitting here this morning, I was looking at this beautiful picture here and thinking how that really, for me, is very significant, that bubble. And that's where the next dimension is. That's where the other world is, just on the other side of that bubble. So this morning what I want to do is get into the energy that we can all tap into. Edgar Casey used to tap into this energy and called it the Akashic Records, also known as Christ consciousness. It's like a band of energy where everything is known, and that energy is tapped into every one of us. We have that access. So I'd like to speak to you this morning, higher self to higher self, and get into that energy where the information is available to each one of you, and to bring to you that information that is in the highest and the best interest of where you are right now, in this moment. So just give me a moment. I'd like to come to the gentleman right at the very, very back in the corner. May I come to you? Good morning. Okay. Well, I see here, and I'm told that you're trying to make a few different decisions at the same time. Can you relate to that? Yeah. Now, because you're trying to sort of figure out the big, big picture in a very quick way, it's getting confusing. And they show me here, it's like you're plugging into something where your energy is drained. I want to encourage you here to take one step at a time. Just one step. And you'll find that if you prioritize the things that you're facing, in as much as when you really, really look at it, say, well, what is the really number one thing I've got to do here? What's number one? Don't worry about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Take one small step into number one. Because when you do that, you'll find that 5, 6, and 7 are gone. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Right. So when you take that very first step, that is the indication that you're giving to Spirit that you've made a decision. And as you make that very first step, you are supported. You become the point of the knife. Meaning you step forward and make that first move. Everything that constitutes the rest of that knife supports that, because you have decided. One step at a time. And it'll be like a domino effect. They show me like dominoes going boom, 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 boom. And it becomes much easier than trying to work it all out in your head and do it all at once. That make sense? Great, I'll leave that with you. Good morning, Joyce. I'd like to come to you here just a moment. Well, Joyce, the very first thing they're showing me is that you're not anywhere near dead yet, girl. You've got a long way to go. And it's like, just a moment here, they're showing, a picture says 1,000 words. And in the picture that I'm seeing here for you, by the end of this year, it's almost like you won't know yourself. You know, Spirit, thank God for God. Spirit picks us up at different times in our lives, and I'll call it delivers us to another way of looking at things, a new experience. Otherwise, we'd all be on the swings in the park, wouldn't we? We would not have grown. And this is what's happening with you. It's like Spirit is picking you up. And by September, you're going to have this, and this in your field to choose from. Now, is there a lady called Harriet in your world? It's a very interesting name, so it's pretty clear here. Harriet. Okay, just a moment. This lady is definitely connected to you through blood relation and has, okay, just a moment. She plays piano. She played piano, she plays piano, she still plays piano. Okay, I want to, okay, just a moment. This lady goes back 62 years. 62 years.
It could have been Auntie Ina.
Pardon me?
It could have been my Auntie Ina.
Ina?
Ina.
Okay, and is there a name Harriet in there?
I think it could be with her.
Okay. Well, the reason why she's here, I mean, I call them fly-ins. It comes in for you here in this moment. It's like you're tied back into music in some way. And what were you saying? Yeah. She's with you, and she says, if you hear a song, you've been hearing, think about this, a song playing kind of in the background as a message to you. Okay, this lady just wants you to know that as you move forward into this year, and September is a very, very big month for you, that she comes to you and brings music, and you will remember her. She's connected through the family, but she goes back a long, long way. Big family? Yeah, okay. There's nothing more. Like she's just saying, I bring the music to her, and I'm always in the background playing music. So I'm just.
It's a bell, but I can't play.
Okay, so we'll just leave it there because it doesn't feel like it's got anything more here for you except to remember when you hear music in the background, this is her. And she's going to be with you as you step into music, more music in your life. Lots of love to you, honey. Okay. Can I come to the gentleman in the tie? Straight through him, yes. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Okay, just a moment. As I get into this energy with you, I feel there's some excitement building. Okay? And in this excitement, they're telling me that there's this tendency to worry about the other shoe dropping. How could this be happening? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Don't doubt what you see. Allow the miracle to happen. They're protecting you here. It's almost like you're in what's that, deluge? Do they call that thing a luge? You're supported in this luge. And life is going to move fast for you in this next few months. Don't be afraid. Just let go. Because if you try to attach yourself and stop the speed of things, you hinder the process. And there is a design. God is looking after you. You are supported, and it's like for the next 3 years, you're at full speed. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a question? You said there's a question that keeps burning in your mind.
I'm always full of questions.
Again, for you, they want you to know that you've got a lot of work left to do on this earth plane. Have trust. That doubt that comes, that little guy that comes on your shoulder every once in a while and goes, yes, but just either bless him or flick him off. Because that's old patterning, it's old thoughts that have had their day and no longer serve you. Surrender, as Cheryl would say, just surrender. So I'll leave that with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Okay, one more? One more here. The lady here in the checkered jacket. Right here, yes. Good morning. You having some health concerns, are you? How are you feeling?
I feel fine.
You feel fine? Okay. Just a moment. Well, there's something here about you not sleeping. Sleeping deep at night. Waking up in the morning, feeling not very perky. Does that resonate with you? Okay. Now, what I want to tell you here is that before you go to bed at night, set the intention and just say, listen guys, I'd really like to have some sleep tonight. 65% of all extrasensory perception events happen while you're sleeping. And that's why sometimes we get up in the morning and we think we've been working all night long. For you, if you set the intention to just say, you know, I need that sleep, because you have to literally catch up on sleep. Hour for hour almost. And for you, it's very important now to allow yourself to have a deep, deep sleep. And there's something you've changed, something in your system. The way that you have your process each day has changed. Your schedule has been changed. So this is what's kind of turned things a little off center for you. So getting sleep is really, really important for you. Okay? I'll just leave that with you.
Alrighty, if everybody would like to just join Cheryl if you want to do the closing prayer. And then we'll all join hands and sing number 48.
Mother, Father, God, Infinite Spirit, we thank you for each life that is represented here. We thank you for we are one, and we thank you for the resonance that you have given each of us, the things and the directives that we need to pursue this week. Give us the courage to ask for help when we need it. Thank you for supplying your angels and your guides to each of us to help us in this walk. Be with us through this week. Bless Jeannie and Clive as they celebrate their anniversary, and any who are celebrating anything. Be with them as we celebrate the joy of just simply being alive and having this experience. Amen.
And thanks, Cheryl, and thanks for